Use condom. You want to get a shot of that? My name is Andrew Otazo. Professionally, I'm the executive director of the Cuba Study Group. On my off time, I come out here to Bearcut Preserve and with a giant set of tweezers, essentially, and just pick up all the trash that I can see. I've been coming here to this particular nature preserve since I was like 12 years old. So I know it inside and out, and I'd always come out here, I'd see all this trash. I'd see the beauty, of course, behind it, but also the trash that was marring it. And eventually, I realized after contacting the county, the village of Key Biscayne, the different newspaper outlets in Miami, I realized that nothing was gonna get done unless I did it myself. So I started coming out here a couple months ago and just cleaning up everything that I saw. And so far I've covered about 4 acres and maybe a quarter of the preserve. And hopefully once word gets out there a little bit more, I'll be able to bring more people out here, I should say, and just finish it up finally, at least the interior. You find everything out here: underwear, syringes, plastic bottles, tons of styrofoam, buoys, lobster traps, pens, lots of plastic bags, everything you could possibly imagine winds up out here. I'm actually seriously worried one day I'm going to find a body because it's Miami, or drugs. I haven't found those yet. And the reason that it all accumulates here is because everything basically winds up in the ocean. Either container ships or other ships accidentally or on purpose drop it into the ocean, or it flies off landfills, or it's just people polluting along the coastline. And everything just winds up there, and whatever winds up in the ocean winds up in the mangroves. This is a saltwater, semi-aquatic environment, tidal, and whenever the tide rises, it brings in trash. When it recedes, it leaves the trash here. So that's why it's covered. And whenever there's a giant storm, it brings even more trash. There are cleanups. They'll bring out groups to Virginia Key, for instance, or different beach cleanups like on Miami Beach. But the thing is, that's just the beach. That's just like the very tip of the iceberg. And I get it, because it's hard to bring in a large group of people into the mangroves. People generally don't like to walk into mangrove swamps. But when you walk into the interior of any mangrove swamp, whether it's here, Matheson Hammock, Deering Bay, down by the Keys, it's a disaster. Accumulated trash from decades. And nothing's really being done about the interior, for sure. As to the response I received from either the local government or news outlets, it's been a deafening silence. It's been, I sent off an email, and I would come out here, I'd take pictures, I'd take video, I'd write letters to the editor, op-eds, nothing. I guess it's not a good story, right?
Well, I hope that's not right, but...
Right, that's not too good. It's a great story.
It's an incredible story. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yes. Well, look at it this way, man. Like, there's an area that nobody knows, really, in Miami. We're not exactly particularly attuned to the environment out here. We don't have being a new city and all, we don't exactly have a lot of civic institutions that are, very strong when it comes to, the environment or many other issues here. So you want to send, you file off a letter or a piece to the Herald or the New Times or whomever, and you tell them, hey, there's this area nobody cares about, nobody knows about, it's full of trash, but it's out of sight. You've got so many other stories to pursue, that doesn't make it. To date, over the span of 23 days, I have picked up 2,015 pounds of trash. And it's not exactly very scientific. I don't have a scale. I just pick up the bag and I go, it's about 40 pounds. And I put it back down. Do I have a goal in mind? No, I'm not like, let's get up 4 tons and I'll be set and I'll never do this again. It's just, I want to clean it as best as I can. I want to cover the entire preserve. And once that's done, then the heavy lift will be over, at least physically on my end. After that, I have to make sure that people come out here regularly and clean up to, at least the high tide mark and get the trash out, because with every high tide comes more trash, and after every storm. Next hurricane we get, this is all going to be covered with trash can. On a whim, one day I decided to buy a GoPro. Then I started cleaning the area and I decided to film it, and I didn't think that watching me walk around a swamp with a freaking plastic bag on my shoulder would be very compelling, but people connected to it for some reason. Yeah, I've gotten a really good response out of it, so I just kept doing it. Let me start by saying there are mangrove swamps, and then there are mangrove swamps. We're on Key Biscayne. You can hear the Rickenbacker over there. You can't get lost here. You walk in a direction, you're gonna hit the ocean, or you're gonna hit the Rickenbacker, or you're gonna hit Crandon Park. So it's easy to come out here, relatively speaking, but even out here there are dangers. But I want to say that if you don't know what you're doing, do not go into a mangrove swamp by yourself or with your friends who also don't know what they're doing. It's so easy. It happens all the time. People dehydrate, they get heat exhaustion, they get lacerations, they get infections. Out here in Key Biscayne, you don't have, a whole lot of dangerous wildlife. The biggest wildlife you'll find out here is raccoons, really. But you can run across, if you're in a freshwater environment, you can run across alligators, which can be very aggressive. In saltwater, you can run across crocodiles, which are not that aggressive, but you never know. You've got, again, this is a tidal environment. So if you're walking through the red mangroves and you trip, and you will trip 100% on a route, and you hit your head and you pass out and it's low tide, the tide's gonna come in and you're gonna drown. And no one's gonna know you're here. There's no reception. So don't come out here by yourself. I can't stress that enough. But that said, if you have someone who knows what they're doing, and I know what I'm doing, it can be a safe environment, under supervision. Again, there's no crazy wildlife out here. You're not gonna get bitten by a black widow or anything. There's exactly 2 spiders out here, neither of which can harm humans in the remotest way possible. But with supervision, with people who know what they're doing, you can definitely come out here and you can make a difference. When I was 12, it's interesting, the way I explore any new environment is how I learned. I would come out here and I go, wow, this is beautiful. And I would, for instance, walk along the periphery, walk along the shoreline, and see how beautiful that was. Walk along the sand flats. As I got older and I learned more and I'd do my own research and I talk to different people, I'd go deeper and deeper until finally I've explored the entire area. I know every inch of this space, and much of it, quite literally, my footprint has been on every inch, especially the area I've already cleared of trash. I've gone inch by inch, so I know it, inside and out. And over the span of years, you know what to look out for, the areas not to go into, where the quicksand is, where the quick mud is, where you can go at low tide, where you can go to high tide, and I don't know, it just becomes natural. Coming out, just walking along the beach and picking up what you see, picking up, a piece of styrofoam or a plastic bottle, that in and of itself can make a difference, because, a piece of plastic could kill a sea turtle, or a seagull, or a brown pelican, or an osprey. So with every piece that you pick up, even though it can feel like a Sisyphean task, because with every high tide there's more trash, you can make a difference in a very real way on the actual flora and fauna of the area. That said, the underlying issue, I can and I will clean up this whole preserve, but the problem is that there will always be more trash, because there's so much of it in South Florida, in the ocean in general. There's so much plastic out there. And until we fix that issue, until somehow through engineering and policy and a whole bunch of other different prescriptions, we fix that, this will not change. I'll do my work here, I'll pass away, maybe other people will keep doing it, maybe not, and this place will get full of trash again. It's bound to happen because there's so much trash in the ocean.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And on that high note.
Yep. Nailed it. Nailed it. Yeah, look, yeah, there's jizz in there.